Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent.
And Eric Ozarowski.
And this is where we share real conversations with the members of the 6 Degrees community about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connection. And on today's episode, we have Natalie Jackson, who is the founder and CEO of Crescent Consultancy.
Yeah, in this episode, we talked with Natalie about her parents' influence on her career path or lack thereof. We talk about social media consumption habits and phone habits. We get into what is customer experience, and she explains what her approach is to integrate that into basically every part of a company and brand. And then we close out with her talking about her motivation to start her own advisory board when she went out on her own as a consultant. And I just thought that was really smart and really interesting. Haven't really heard many entrepreneurs do that.
Yeah, honestly, it was motivating. I think for me, I was like, wow, that's something that we should do for ourselves. And that I think a lot of entrepreneurs should do, especially if they're new to being a business owner, to being an entrepreneur. It can be lonely. And so to just have some people to surround myself with who can support that is awesome. And yeah, I did really appreciate the questions that you asked about just what even is like the customer experience role and what that looks like, because I think a lot of people are still unsure. So this was really great to hear that from Natalie. So please enjoy this episode of Sixcess Stories. At this point, we've got like 75 people.
Oh, that's so many.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, I just wish I would have given this job to...
Do you guys need another intern?
Well, we need someone for sales specifically. But no, we have, obviously, I mean, it's been awesome that Valentina wants to work while she's abroad. Like, that was such a surprise for us. We didn't think that she was going to do that. So it was like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And she's the one who edits this. So shout out. She will hear this.
Hope Spain's great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just part of the learning. But it's going to be a really great event. I'm glad that you get to come.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, the Western metal part of it too, right? Isn't that where it was? It'll be so fun.
Yeah.
Very social.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be really fun. How was, you said that you were at like a round table thing?
Yeah, this morning I had a LinkedIn Live, my very first one ever, so it's been a hell of a day.
That's cool. Well, yeah, let's do a little check-in. Maybe even for me, and this could be relevant to everyone, is what's one thing that each of us need to truthfully let go of to be present here?
Yeah, I think it's the rush going from one thing to the next. I always take a moment to be like, okay, I did that, and now on to the next thing, and just take a moment. So I think it's just this hand gesture of moving things past and then being in the moment, just all the things.
Yeah.
I think specifically for me is I've been playing phone tag all day, and I'm waiting for a call that I hope does not happen while we're talking.
Sounds important.
It's semi-important.
Yeah.
So that's lingering in the back of my head. I need to have that happen today.
Yeah, definitely.
So try to let that go for the next hour, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously just the game stuff and the event that we have coming up, but that's what I really appreciate about this space in particular is I put my computer away and I can be here, and it kind of just sucks me in when we're in this room.
Yeah.
Which is really helpful.
That's good. Yeah, you're second home.
When we were walking into the space, and I was like, man, we're here quite a bit. This is pretty much like I feel like I work here.
Right.
I mean, even though this never feels like work, which is great.
Right. No, just from listening to the other podcast, there's a passion that you guys have for this.
Yeah.
I heard you say you want to do it every day, right? Always.
Oh my gosh, if this was
that's great.
More of my full time,
yeah,
that would be so cool. I mean, I love the times that I get to just go and meet with people. Like when we met the first time for coffee, it's so energizing. And so I think just being able to talk to people, and I don't know, we've talked about so many different topics on here, and it's fun to just be in a room of intelligent humans and kind of dive in.
Right.
Yeah, I think I've learned something from everyone that I didn't know just in this setting, so that's been fun.
Well, you're on the edge of the need for authenticity. I think coming out of the roundtable I was just at, that came up a few times about with AI and some changes and everything, this is what people are craving. So I think it's so nice that you're taking the moment to do this, truly.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. Thanks for
my
being
gosh.
part of it. So tell us about the roundtable. Like, tell us, what was that?
It's just, it's connections. Like
Yeah.
I got invited through, I learned that someone who coached and taught someone I worked with at my prior firm who's been established for a very long time. And this is a place where I get the sense that business owners and experts, they publish their books through this particular editor.
Okay.
Who also has a speaker and coach and all, it's a combination of expertise, and they lift each other up and they practice. And so I learned a bunch of things just from, where I was earlier, hearing them practice and present what they've written about based on decades of their careers. So it was cool. It was at UCSD at the Continuing Ed building, which is the new one that I hadn't seen, kind of near Whole Foods over there.
So is the editor kind of the glue?
Sounds like the glue.
Yeah.
A lot of them knew each other. I was sort of the guest in there.
Are you considering writing a book?
I mean, it's something I've thought about.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it's funny because I didn't seek it out.
Okay.
But I have thought about that as I'm developing my perspective. So I did have a little bit of, like hearing how they'll translate execution ways and translate what's in the news about what Meta's doing and how that's going to affect us. And just everyone has their position. And yeah, I guess I've realized I do have my perspective, and that's why I was comfortable going into my own. So yeah, it's on the long list.
That's cool. The long list, right? Yeah. It does keep getting longer.
Right.
Have you written anything even like in short form in any capacity?
I mean, I've started to do a few articles and things, and I have a couple ideas of books I want to write, but they're more on like the chick light dating side of things with all my experiences, which we're not getting into, right?
We don't have to if you don't want to.
But I have, ideas for that of like a chapter per experience and how it rounds itself out. But no, I mean, I've put an outline together.
Okay.
And then I did a webinar, a 90-minute interactive webinar for the first time last week. It's been like a really crazy 2 weeks. Yeah. And that forced me to have my framework, my perspective, and how to teach it to an executive audience. So I think that was what I needed to sort of jumpstart like I could spend so much time talking about these 8 things to help someone get to their maturity in their organization.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's how it starts, right? It's just here's some framework that turns into an outline, and then like, I can go deeper on this and pull this thread, and this turns into a book.
Right, exactly. And like, how did that even happen? Exactly. I heard myself saying, like, I could talk about this for 4 hours, and we can't get into this right now, but here's a tip, and here's a story. And that definitely was a validating and kind of intense feeling to be like, oh, wow, yeah.
I think there's so much value in part of it, even for this podcast, for us, of hearing it back. For me personally, it's the same kind of thing with writing, where it's just like, it's getting it out of my head, crystallizing it in a way that I'm trying to communicate it more effectively. Just that process alone is really effective. And then sometimes it's like, well, now there's a book that people have forever and it exists and people can actually read it. But I think there's a lot of personal just intuitiveness that comes out of learning from being able to write things down and get them out in a clear way.
Yeah, which is a challenge, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, this form is my version of that. I'm not a writer. This has just never been my strong suit.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with that. But this is where I can do that. Eric actually is a really good writer. He hasn't really, I don't know, or at least I don't know of anything that you've written lately, but there was...
it's a locked diary somewhere you're not allowed to see.
Well, yeah, there's probably something like that.
Journals and stuff. But
yeah,
it's not as consistent as I'd like it to be.
Is that on your list?
Same thing as you. The list is very long, so of course it's on the list.
Yeah, he's got stand-up on his list. I'm like, we have a place to do that.
Yeah. I do want to do stand-up.
I cheer you on. We went to the Comedy Store recently and here recently with you guys. So it's fun to watch. It's practice, right?
Yeah.
Someone said today in that round table, it's all a journey. Practice, you iterate, but you need the test audience to do things.
Right.
Like the safe space kind of. Right?
Yeah, you need there's a sounding board part, and then there's a learning feedback loop that needs to happen. Otherwise, I just do the same thing forever, and I get frustrated of like, why I'm doing it in a vacuum.
Totally, and it's vulnerable to have someone say, oh, actually this, or, in that case, to have the audience not respond to something, right? Take notes on it. But it's vulnerable to be open to feedback. I've noticed that.
Do you have examples of how that's shown up in your career where you've gotten feedback and it was a little tough to hear?
Well, I think I heard someone say, I was at a women's conference a bunch of years ago. There were 1,000 women. And in that conference, there was the inner critic lesson, right? And I realized I don't think I have the inner critic, and I've practiced for a very, very long time to reframe things. However, they pointed out, well, but just take a moment and remember something that someone said to you that was unkind or disparaging or took away from what you thought you were or whatever. And every person just went quiet in the room, right? And so, yeah, I remember those moments where I don't think they were very constructive moments of feedback, not a feedback in the positive, because feedback can be a negative, right?
Yeah, more of a critique.
Yeah.
And not even sometimes it's not even a critique, it's a judgment.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
It's about me. Like,
Right.
that's not helpful feedback.
No, insulting is not helpful. Saying, it'd be better if you, or have you thought about this or whatever. But yeah, I remember those moments. Even choosing to go do this, I had I'll just say supervisor, to give a neutral, who said, you're really good behind the scenes. You should just stay behind the scenes. And it's like, don't tell me that, right? There's so much that I do. I'm so happy to put myself out there. Yeah, and other things that, or you look like someone who's going to get there. You don't want to break a nail coming out of moving chairs and preparing for a town hall for a big organization, and as someone who didn't know me. So there's stuff like that you judged based on how you look or what they don't know about you or being threatened or whatever, that I remember those things. But it wasn't feedback like, maybe you should think about being more concise like this, or maybe you should think about highlighting the objectives. It wasn't that kind of stuff that I've just had to sort of learn along the way.
Yeah, or just feedback in the sense of, I'm really interested in what your choice was. Why did you do that?
Right, the curiosity.
Being more curious, right? Not even I need to give it to change it. It's just like, help me understand how you thought of that crazy.
Right.
I've been doing it this way. Why are you doing it that way? Help me understand.
Can you just tell more people that? That's really
I
nice
think the world,
to ask a question.
The world needs more of this. Like, don't try to fix it. Just help me understand.
Right, because
maybe it's better.
That's right. We're all coming from different perspectives and different backgrounds, and we can debate on a lot of topics. But recently I've heard quite a few people, even members of my family, say true intelligence is being able to see sort of both sides. Right? And there's more than two sides, obviously, but just that idea, like, argue both sides. That's going to get you forward. Well,
there's multiple truths, right?
Yes.
Like your experience versus my experience versus Christina's experience versus our experience. We're all in the same room, but literally we're in three different chairs. So there's three different perspectives happening just at that level.
Right.
And then throw in all of your background, your experience for however your life.
That's right.
Mix that
None
in
of
with
us
mine.
know that. Yeah.
Right. And we've talked about that a little bit before about, like, we've only known you for less than a year.
Right.
So I only know this window of Natalie, but you have all of your entire life leading up to that.
Right.
Where you're a parent, and if you have siblings and all this other stuff that have made you this person in front of us right now, which is kind of crazy.
Right. Same for you too.
Right.
Yeah. That's so true.
And when I show up the best in a relationship is definitely when I can take that time to, there's just so many things that could drive us crazy about our partners, and it's taking the time to say, okay, wait, maybe they have a reason for why they did the thing like that. Like load the dishwasher in a certain way or whatever the thing might be, that I'm like, what was this person thinking? And instead of getting angry or frustrated or whatever the thing is, it's just that question, Eric. It's like, all right, just walk me through your process. Right.
Help me understand
what was going on, because there's a million different things that could have been happening, and it's, okay, you were in a hurry, or this is just how I was taught by my parents. There's so many things.
It's true. I think that's the healthy way.
Yeah. It's just difficult sometimes.
Right. We are human, right? And all of us get frustrated and react and everything. But I think that's such a healthy way to go about it.
Yeah. What did your parents do? Like for a living?
Career-wise? My dad's a lawyer. He said he'd work until he was 88.
Okay.
He's now 78. And his office actually burned down. He started to practice. We're back east. And that was the catalyst to him deciding to actually, just rebuild the building, sell the building, and sell his practice. And he said that was the best thing that happened because he didn't realize he was ready. And so now he's the most sprightly 78-year-old. He's like 50-something, exercises, golfs, everything. But he now is a part of a large firm, and he got his staff into the firm in senior positions, and everyone's doing great, and he loves the culture and everything. So
okay, cool.
Really nice to see that accidental but probably fortuitous reinvention
Yeah.
for him. So he always thought my sister and I would become, my stepsister and stepbrother would become lawyers and take over his firm. But we did not do that. That was not the successful.
None of you
Oh, no,
did?
she got a law degree.
Oh, okay.
My brother-in-law's a lawyer. I took my LSATs and worked at law firms in D.C. after college.
Okay.
So we thought that we might, but now she's teaching and I'm doing what I do. So
Yeah.
yeah. And my mother is an artist, jack of all trades. My parents met in London when she was a nurse. She was from South Africa. When she was a nurse, they were both in theater. So they're theater people. She was in commercials, and he got a full ride scholarship if he promised to be the lead in Shakespeare. And that's how he brought himself to college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm
cool.
terrible on stage. Like, I don't do that, but a lot of my family members do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were starting to go down the path of law,
Yeah.
and then what shifted? What made that?
Yeah. Well, my stepmother is the best companion for my dad because she learned how to golf. So the two of them have won all these golf tournaments in there. That's what they do. So golf is a part of existence too.
Okay.
But as far as the law thing, I mean, I went to college. I had a business degree, so international business and marketing, a minor in English, but truly I wanted to be an architect. That's what I wanted to do.
wow.
My grandfather in South Africa was an architect. My mother was always like drafting plans and helping people with things. So that's what I wanted to do. And my father dissuaded me from doing that, basically just saying like, stop, you're going to be drafting for a long time. And then this was like in CAD, the software was becoming a thing. It's like, you're going to be doing that. It's a tough one. And I don't love that happened, but it pushed me a little bit towards figuring out the business side. So I almost worked at Accenture. Well, I got a job at Accenture when I was in college, and then they overhired that year. So there were 10,000 of us that just got paid and had to wait and see. So that's when I went and took my LSATs, worked at law firms. I taught art at a Montessori school for a while. My mom's an artist, so we learned how to do things. And then I was like, so then I moved to California. I didn't want to wait anymore.
Okay.
So and then I worked for KPMG, which rebranded as Bearing Point, and then I got into consulting.
Wow.
So, but it's a lot of like life decisions, but it felt fine. Like I just took it in stride, 20 something, whatever. Yeah.
So
That's
you
really
were
cool.
a very productive no-show job. Here's 10 grand, just hold on. And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go do a bunch of stuff. Like most people in the people in their
Yeah,
20s.
Chill.
So that makes me like, during the pandemic, was that a productive time for you? Or
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. So yes. So I was leaving at the time LPL Financial. I just accepted an offer at the consulting firm I went to, Accelerate. And that was that was January 2019.
okay.
So I got released into this world of working with clients that were kind of established to everybody pumping the brakes and me needing to, instead of doing like relationship management and team management and all the things, running a vertical or whatever, I had to then awkwardly reach out to my network in a pandemic to try to drum up sales. It was terrible. I didn't like that at all. It was
Yeah.
very uncomfortable. And I had no sales experience like that, despite having worked in consulting and in-house. I did not like that at all. It was really rough for me, but I still got to deliver at clients. So I was working in a new job. I had to figure out how to facilitate workshops remotely. My kids and I did garden walks around our garden. And then I put my kids, thankfully, they got invited into a Montessori pod that we could walk to. So they were in school locally. And then, I was just working. I was like a lot of remote work then. So it was productive, but I wasn't one of the people making sourdough breads and learning how to play the guitar, though we did order a guitar. I just don't know how to play it. So I didn't do that, but I was productive in learning a new thing, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we, made tie-dye and did all the things to try to keep the kids busy.
Yeah.
So much so that my son, who's now 12, was like, I love COVID. It was the best. Those were the best years of my life so far. Yeah. And I was like, do you know what was happening? He's like, oh, no, I know what was happening. But for me,
How old was
Best
he? How old was
years.
he during that time?
well, he's 12 now. So
Okay.
he was, kindergarten plus?
Sure.
Well, he had to leave in-person kindergarten at our Montessori school and then
Best time of my life.
But he says it with that conviction and
Yeah,
passion.
yeah, I feel it.
Seriously, like yesterday, best time of my life.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. Totally. Very wise. raise these kids, you know?
That's so funny.
But I'll pull on that thread a little bit. And I think he liked the smaller feel, the personal attention, like just a little flexibility, not having to be at school, butts in seats all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, they would agree, like, that it was as tragic and as messed up as things got. For a lot of people, there was a lot of positive that came out of it one way or the other, right? And some people were really productive.
Yeah.
Christina and I, we did a lot of drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was going to ask, did you make sourdough bread?
No.
I did paint by numbers.
Oh, that's good.
So that was
Yeah.
my little activity that filled my time.
Right.
Yeah, I wish I part of it was like, yeah, I didn't go do a skill. I didn't get into great shape.
Secretly.
I did some writing, but
that's when you wrote. That's the piece that he wrote, this really incredible piece with George Floyd, like that whole incident.
Yeah.
And it was, I thought it was really powerful. And you did go perform that when I was out of town and I was pissed.
I have read that. I have done open mic stuff with that, but the comedy part would be fun. So.
But yeah, not like super productive. I mean, he was working remote still.
Yeah, my job didn't really change. I just worked from home. So I didn't have the break that everyone.
Okay.
Christina literally was,
I was like, I had nothing to do. I wish I would have taken more walks outside or done more healthy activities. But no, I was just pretty much every day doing paint by numbers until he quote unquote clocked out. And then, it was, I mean, at the time I was working in the bar industry, and our bar group, 13 bars in Chicago, once a week, it was like a pickup time slot that anyone who was employed from Four Corners could go and pick up some food. And when we were picking up food, they were also just giving us beer and stuff. They were like, here, take this too. So they were just giving, so we had a bunch of stuff at home. Right. And unfortunately, thank you so much, Four Corners, for feeding employees, even though we weren't there. It was all carbs. It was pizza and pasta. Yeah. So they were giving us pizza, pasta, and beer. I'm like, thank you. I'm so grateful. And this is not great on me right now. We're just sitting at home.
Comfort food.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, and at that time in Chicago, it was like freezing cold.
Oh geez, that's
Well,
right. Yeah,
only
March
for a little bit, and then it was
April,
the most hot,
May.
like the most miserable hot summer, and we had this tiny little AC window unit that barely cooled down the apartment. And if we cooked anything for dinner, we would trade off. So if he was cooking, it was this tiny little studio apartment, but what he did is he hung up just like a curtain that blocked off the kitchen. It was like this little tiny space. And so when we blocked off the kitchen with a curtain, it did help keep the heat in there. So whoever was cooking dinner was in this just like hot box of a little room while dripping sweat.
Dripping, like the oven's on, the windows are wide open, there's fans, and it's just hot air.
And then it's like he'll poke his head out, or I'll poke my head out once. Okay, dinner's ready. And then it's like cracking open a beer just because I'm sweating so much. It was such a time. And it was the two of us with our two dogs.
Okay.
And in this tiny space where we went from like really not seeing each other hardly at all at home just because of our schedules to now we're around each other 24/7 a year into our marriage. It was an interesting time.
You're still here today.
And
work together.
Made us better from
That's
it, for
right.
sure. Definitely brought us close. There was some friction.
It
felt like 5 years of marriage in like a 6-month window.
Well, and there was there was so much happening to BLM movement. Like there was a lot that was coming up and it was all consuming during that time because there was so much time off for so many people. And so it was amplified more than now, right? There's things that are happening now there's all kinds of tragedy and things that are happening. And at the same time, there's so much day to day that I feel like we are still being occupied with versus then that's all I had to consume my time. And it was just constant on my feeds so it was a very different time. And we definitely.
Well, that's how some people just still operate, right? They get hooked into the story, they get the news or whatever, the social media platform, whatever it is like that becomes the world.
That's right. That view,
like that was a window for you, Christina, of in that moment. I was like, but that's how some people live.
Yeah.
Like
how do you handle like social media and just everything that's going on in the world, or do you watch the news, or is any of that a big part of your day-to-day life?
I'm I try to be aware for sure, but I also, my algorithms are very immature because I don't do anything. And I mean that not the content is immature, but I don't go there.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I try.
They don't know you that well.
They don't know me that well. I love that. They don't. It's mom stuff, or whatever. I prefer not to go there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't try to be educated and have my opinion, but just generally I try to live my life open-minded. I'll listen to those who have the passion, and I just kind of live in that space.
Sure.
Not an absent bubble, but just a little bit more just let me stay a little zen.
I would say I'm the same way. I don't get most of my stuff. I literally don't know when things happen unless someone tells me. And it's like I find out about the stuff when it comes.
Right.
So I'm probably even more a little bit. There are people like, oh, you don't know that? Christine will be like, you don't know what this thing is? And I'm like, I know, but you're the second person that told me about it. So
let me go look it up. That's right. Well, my family and I, we do play the New York Times games, like Wordle every day and those things.
That's like how I start my day.
So we do those right at night. I'll do that. And so if there is something that comes up, I'll read there, and I still get the Wall Street Journal, sometimes read it. So it's like different news sources, but I just don't live on social.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's probably healthy.
Well, because I think that's part of the learning for me during the pandemic when it was so all consuming and it was so hard on just mental everything. And it's tough because, of course, I want to know what's going on in our country, in the world. And it can be really heavy and daunting. And it's interesting. I think one of the biggest things that I just really disagree with, as far as there's people who have a platform, they have a really large audience, and other people will be like shouting at them as like, why aren't you saying something kind of mentality? And it's like, dude, I don't think that's everyone's responsibility, because not everyone can handle it.
Right.
I mean, yes, maybe I have this huge following, and at the same time, it's like I have to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so that's just, I don't know. Some people can handle more, like in certain parts of every aspect of our lives.
Right.
And I think it's the people who can share that. But if I can't, then take care of me.
That's right. Or they appear to. It might be really tough.
Yeah.
Outside of the public presence. Right? I think there's a moment in that who chooses to speak up and do different things. There's risk involved with all of it. So I think it's where we choose to live in that vocal platform and how much, right? We're influenced by others to put pressures on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the social media thing is just a can of worms.
It is.
It's so interesting, and it didn't exist 15 years ago.
Right.
How much of our time is on
a
phone that 15, 20 years? What is it?
That's right.
2008, I think.
I've seen that bar chart. I did see that one. I think it was on LinkedIn, but
Yeah, it's like what was everyone doing? There was so much time that wasn't here where it's going now, right? It's crazy to think about.
It is. It's right. Well, that's why the desire for connection and in person and authenticity that's really, really real, right, is so important.
Yeah.
Do your kids have anything like a iPad, phone, like anything?
I wish it was just wood toys and no TV. But that was the beginning of their lives. Now they do. My son just got a PC with the flashy lights and everything for his birthday the other day. And my daughter has a laptop now. She just discovered Roblox over the summer. But they know how I feel about it. So I have all of the parental, the timers and the checks. I can see every single search. So I think it's very much about, I don't know, surveillance, I guess, to understand and to make sure that things get shut down at night and that they come down to dinner if it's something that we want to do together. So they know my feelings about it, but that doesn't take away from their joy, I guess. And I did read that book, The Anxious Generation.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you read that.
Yeah. So I read that, and one of my takeaways was, especially with, they say, right, with boys, as long as it's, and I think it's applicable for girls too, but in that book, with boys, social gaming when they're talking with friends or side by side with friends is, in quotes, the healthier option, right? And then I try for not too much violence and all that. And for the girls, they talk about, right, social media as the fear. And my daughter's 9, so she's not on social, and the kids won't get phones until the wait till 8 movement, so not till 8th grade, but they have watches for safety so they can call and do things.
That's, I've read half of that book. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm in the middle of it. But yeah, for my takeaways, like there's no reason for anyone under 13, 14 to have access to a slot machine in their pocket.
Right.
It's insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they talk about the different studies in schools to take away phones, and now public school and both my kids are in private schools, but there's no phones. They have to check them in, just showing the difference in focus and results.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's night and day.
Yeah.
In the classroom.
Right. Well, I see that. They go into this hole of technology and their day is different the next day. The way they talk to me is different. So I would prefer, as I said, just nature, let's garden and not do that.
Have you I would imagine the challenge with that is so other parents aren't going to be operating the same way you do. And for me, if I remember like 10, 11, 12, 13 is like, oh, Christina has... And at Christina's house, we get to, right? Does that come up with your kids at all?
Not a ton. I mean, my son he's a jovial, friendly kid, so he'll get someone's email address or find them online and he wants it, but it's less about peer pressure. I didn't really give into peer pressure as a kid. Yeah. I don't know if I'm instilling something in them, but they sort of have their conviction about things. So no, that's not for us. That's not a thing. I think it will be, and I hear from other parents it will be when they get to like 8th grade, 9th grade. Mm-hmm. But we're not. Yeah,
it just maybe it's still a little early. I was one of the first of my friends. Like I had a cell phone first in like 7th or 8th grade, and I remember a brick Nokia light up cover screen from the mall.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first ones. But I remember like the mindset, but maybe it was a little bit older, not 9, 10, 11, 12.
It'll probably come. It hasn't yet. But also it takes a little bit of work to get them to do play dates, different from when I was a kid. You know, everyone in the neighborhood played and we're up in the apple tree and we're doing this in the creek, all that stuff. It takes coordination and texting. And so we're trying to create our circles around our neighborhood, which we've done, and everyone's busy and they go for sports and they do this and they do that. So it takes coordination for sure. But I'm willing to put the effort in to give them a little bit of that easy socialization.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to, you're upset, here's a screen, stop.
Oh my gosh, no.
Or what is it? What's the throw cheese on their face?
Oh gosh.
For the babies.
It's for the babies.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. No screens at the table, no screens at restaurants, no matter the age, none of that. Yeah. But I do allow it on airplanes. They love that. I'll stuff their backpacks with snacks, books, and devices, and then I can now read a book or watch a movie as they're older.
I listened to Armchair Expert, and they've been talking about how they went back to getting a landline.
Oh, yeah.
Which is connected to the internet. And what they really loved about it is they programmed the numbers that can be dialed in and out. So it only can have those numbers on it. There's no... So they wouldn't get spam calls and anything like that, or even
that's
just
interesting.
Yeah, so it's very specific, and it was for safety, right? It was so that the kids are able to have access to a phone, and here's the list of people that they can call, and it eliminates the texting thing, or even just the phones, like having the phone, and so I was like, that's how cool to kind of be going back in time to something that
kind of makes me want a landline.
Right? Yeah. It's like, this is the only way that I can be reached is through a landline.
Right.
How cool.
Do you remember calling your friend's house?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Hi, Mrs. Johnson. Can I play with,
the
Janet
worst,
or whatever?
Yeah. The worst was like, well, okay. I don't think I've revealed this on this podcast yet. I ended up dating brothers in high school. So I was going to say there's 3 brothers. I only dated 2 of them, of these 3 brothers. But them and their father all sounded exactly the same when they answered the phone. And I remember it was like 227 was the number for that area. I can remember calling. But every time calling that household and they would say hello, I would say like one of the names and they're like, nope, it's this one or whatever. And it was always so awkward. And especially because I was dating, and then like if it was the dad, it was a whole thing. But I absolutely remember calling that landline, and they did not get their kids or allow their kids to have cell phones till they were 18, so it was landline only, and it was awful.
Right. Maybe it's training for the time.
I think it is.
I think
like your kids will never have to do that, right? And
Right.
There's an art to going up to someone's door and asking,
Yeah.
hey,
Can so-and-so come out and play?
Yeah, did you send me that? I saw this clip of like this dad like teaching his son, like, here's the etiquette.
No, it was a ding dong ditch.
No, those are two different things.
Oh, okay. I just sent you the ding dong ditch video, and it was so funny because it was the dad who was encouraging the kid to do it, because he was like, this is what we used to do like back in my day for fun. And it's the funniest thing ever, because the kid basically gets caught and just stands there, and he was like, I don't know, my dad wanted me to do this. And then the dad is like in the background running, and he's like, what are you doing? Run!
So you can tell I'm not on social. I haven't seen it, but love it, right?
Yeah, that's the stuff that's in my feed.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that pulls up.
But but what I was referring to is that it was basically this dad is like, all right, close the door. How would you just give me we're gonna role play this?
Yeah.
And he the kid knocks, and he's looking at his feet, and he just slams the door. He goes, look at the person in the eyes. really basic stuff.
Yeah.
Stop stuttering. Be confident. What do you want? He does it 4 times to the kid.
Oh my gosh.
But it's very common sense kind of things.
Yeah.
I think we forget, and this is kind of just the interesting of human connection part. I remember the moment where my grandpa was like, here's how a handshake works.
Yes.
Right? And it's a very simple thing, but if he never told me that, make eye contact, shake firm, but not too firm. Don't all those little things. It's a very simple thing that just kind of gets lost.
It does. And people still do it, right?
Right? But where did you, if he didn't take me aside and be like, hey, it's good to have a grandpa or an uncle or parent to do that, right?
That's right.
But not everyone has that.
No.
And there's so much art to conversation, connection.
It's true. And how is that going to evolve, right?
Yeah. Well, so mixing AI to this, and kids are literally not even thinking. Christina said this.
Right.
What do I say?
Right. That's really funny. Down to the granular level. I remember being taught to shake hands. That was really big with my parents. My mother was very big about manners. All the knife and fork. So I've taught my kids how to use a knife and fork. Yeah. I learned apparently, I don't remember it, but at age 4 how to do that. So I taught my kids, and the napkin and this and all that. And then, my father was big on, he built his career on the golf course. So it was that. I had to learn about that. And then, shaking hands. So I had to shake hands, look someone in the eye. And so I've taught my kids that. But it's same. It's because that's what I was exposed to.
Right.
Right? To be able to do that.
Some of it gets passed down. There's so many things where, we learn it from our parents. And if our parents don't do it, money is the same thing, right? There's all of these things. And what's actually important.
That's right. I'll tell you, the other day, so I'm doing some client work right now, and oddly, I've gotten checks. They're big companies, but checks as my payment. And so my daughter we have this reading nook, and I was like, Dad, do you know how to open mail? I walked over, and she's like, well, yeah, we did this mail. I remember in kindergarten, I was like, when was aside from a card for a birthday, do you know how to open this check without ripping what's inside? Right. And she's like, oh, I don't know. She puts down the thing, and she she's peeling through it. I'm like, well, you could open this side, and people used to have a letter opener, but I realized that, and then she doesn't even know how that gets deposited. So those life skills, sure, that will probably go away some more, but even then, she didn't know how to open. What have I not taught her?
It's that. How many little things like that do we all take for granted, but that we picked up somewhere along the way? It's oh shit, you
I didn't pass that down. Oh my god.
I didn't. Yeah. Then they'll look it up. Whatever. Right.
I guess that's true. Just ask AI, how do I open this?
I remember.
Exactly. What do I do with it?
I remember. So I never sent a fax. I don't know how. The fax machine. I just didn't have a job where I needed it, and this was probably 2017. I was working in insurance, and they're like, to do this, we need to send a fax. I'm like, excuse me. It's 2017. And I know I've been alive for this technology. I have literally never made it. I've made it this far. I don't need to do it. Can you just do it for me? So I don't know how to send a fax. I don't understand how it works.
You didn't sit side by side?
I didn't. I wasn't interested in learning.
Oh my gosh. I remember having a fax thing with different companies.
I was so fun. I was like, but I can just email it. And then they could print it.
That's right. The policy, right?
Yeah. They're like, this is more secure. Yeah. I'm like, that can't be true.
Can't be true.
That technology is quite fascinating, the way that it takes the information and then it prints it on the other side.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Like that's more complex.
Is that going to come back? Right.
Probably.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's the magic that happens for me to have this thing get scanned and then it pop out over here. It was way crazier than like whatever happens between.
That's so funny. Well, it's like, did you see the old Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
The old when what is it? Mike TV gets shrunken.
yeah,
and remember that part?
little,
Right.
Yeah.
That's like that.
Yeah.
Right. Started over here. Now
It's
he's
like
over
all
there.
these little particles in the air, and then it forms over there.
Yeah.
That's what taught me about technology.
Will gotta thank Willy Wonka, man.
That's great.
I learned a lot there.
I want to go back to your consulting, getting into what you're doing now. So tell us a little bit about why experiential, why now? I'd love to hear the why behind.
I mean, I think with everything there's that catalyst or that moment, right? And then learning along the way. So for me, I realized I had an aha that what I do is a real thing. Customer experience is like a discipline that I had to learn, and learned that, and was trying to do it I was doing it, but in past organizations, mapping stuff out on my whiteboard in my office and YouTubing stuff and just trying to figure this out because I felt like I was on to something.
Yeah.
When I'm working in one big part of a big organization, but I don't know what's happening over there on the front end, and I don't know what happens after, but I can go ask some people who are leaders, but I don't know enough. And if I don't know, and I'm being really curious and trying to figure it out, what's everyone else doing? Are they also trying to figure it out? And so I think for me, that was understanding that whole customer journey concept at the time and saying how frustrating it was for me to not be able to be in a seat to pull it all together for everybody, even though I was working on huge transformations around really smart people, making change, part of a culture transformation, like all that was happening all at the same time. But for me, I think I just had a ton of those light bulb moments. There's got to be a different way.
Yeah.
And then I got to go put it in practice, at a smaller consulting firm strategically, and learn a little bit more and try out some of the things that I had read a book about or YouTube, really do it for big clients. And so I built up my perspective on that. It shifted a little based on what I did. And I think it was just coming to a time for me when I needed to focus a little bit more. I don't know if I would have or should share this, but I ended up getting pneumonia. I was working and I was like up at 2 a.m. and building presentations because I care so much about my work, and I'm a single mom and I'm with the kids and all that. And so I went to the hospital. Thankfully, the kid's dad came and he was with them, and and even at the company that I was at, they were so lovely, and like they did a food train for me for my getting better after. It was, I felt all the the warmth and care, but it took that moment to get myself there, and then sitting in the hospital like, well, maybe I should change some things in my life. So that was one of the really big catalysts to say, well, I want to focus a little bit more, and I care so much about what I do, so how do I find something that I care about? And so I thought, like, once I got out of all that and I was recovering, it was a lot of conversations to figure out, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back in-house at a large organization and move things along? Now that I know more, do I want to run a nonprofit? So I took my kids to Hawaii and I read a book about running a nonprofit, and I said, I don't want to do that, but I want to help nonprofits. It's like really a lot of rules and requirements.
That's
It's
a helpful book. That book saved you a lot of stress.
But I was like, I want to do something that I really care about, and I want to help, and I want to, so that's why you've heard me say, like, let me take what I know how to do and apply it to nonprofits and organizations that, are mission driven and everything. But so moved that one to the side and didn't do that. And then wanted to get into the renewables space, and that I was able to do the LinkedIn equivalent of cold calling once I had decided to leave my firm where I was, started to do the reach outs and everything, right? And secured that super fun, informative project for 2 years in that space before things changed in the industry, of course. But it's like I was going after these things that I thought that I wanted to do. And it took going to a sales boot camp for a few weeks at the beginning with a cohort of others who were building something for me to be forced to say, well, what exactly do you want to do and how do you want to focus? And, people use the term niche down or niche down. Didn't actually do that, but kind of. So I decided I like customer experience. I like the fact that employee experience is so closely tied to it. So I can help with that and help guide and influence the cultural side and the human side to make change and growth. And so I landed on customer experience and just pull from what I know.
When someone doesn't know customer experience, UX, CX.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I know this has been a journey for you of just like, what's the simplest version of being able to articulate it at this point?
Of course.
After doing it for a couple of years.
Yes, quite honestly, when I say customer experience, the thought is, oh, you're in customer support or customer success, or you help the service team, or you design websites, or you do this. All that is a part of customer experience, but it's brand activation across all touch points. Mm-hmm. That is the definition that I use anyway about what customer experience is. And then behind that is it's people powered, it's a discipline, it's measurable. I think of the KPIs, the employees are the ones who need to support and lift that up, and it takes constant listening. But brand activation across all touch points is, I think, the most succinct way I could say it. How do you want to show up? What are you offering? What are you promising? And then pressure test every single place across the whole journey to see if you're showing up in that way.
You mentioned, go ahead.
I was going to ask, what do you see as one of the bigger misses across the board? Like, is there something that you're like, this is constant that they're missing?
Yeah, I think, the first thing foundationally that I'll say and try to help with is the leadership side of things. So executive buy-in and an understanding of that definition and what that means and how to show up. That's something, sometimes it's missing, but when you get down into an organization, it's the lack of alignment about where we're headed or what those brand beliefs are or where the goals are or the vision, so that the leaders and teams, employees know how to show up.
Yeah.
They need to be equipped, aligned, and then empowered to be able to say, well, I totally get it. I believe this. We have this common purpose. We want to help XYZ. We want to do this. And I feel like I have the tools and resources and know-how and budget or whatever the things are to be able to go do that. What I'll say is those who are leading this type of work within an organization need to have experience or expertise, access, influence, and budget. Those are the ingredients to be successful. And that's one of the things that I'll pressure test. If it's not there, then you don't have the right person leading it. Don't put someone who's so new in their career to lead something like this, because it lives across the whole organization.
Yeah. Right? How do you pressure test? What are some of the things that you're uncovering?
Yeah. I mean, I interview if it's the beginning of an engagement, I'll work with the lead, and you can kind of tell pretty quickly, right? Yeah. If the roadblocks have to do with this leader doesn't get it, or we don't have this information, or we can't get to the data, or our systems are different. There's those traditional people process tech things that come up. But aside from that, the pressure testing gets when I start interviewing the leaders. So I try to meet one-on-one with any of the, I'll just say, stakeholders who have any point in the journey, who get identified. And I learn a lot, and I keep it confidential, but I draw out themes. That's when I can say, well, we said we're going to do this, or this system isn't doing that, or this person doesn't understand the role, or this one. There's a whole lot. We unpack a lot, or I unpack a lot in that way. And then also when I get to interview their customers and clients. So that's it's learning for me, and I'll take the time.
How many different interviews will you typically do before being part of an engagement?
No, that's once we start.
Or that's once you start?
I have meetings, and we sort of chat through things and shape what really, really matters and what fits with our culture first. But the interviews, that's part of the beginning of an engagement, even if they're small. So
how many is it across the board? Is it like I need to sit down with every single stakeholder, and that could be 3 people, that could be 20?
Well, I'll identify that with my counterpart and the sponsor. So at one recent large organization, there were 18 cross-functional leads, and that's across all the different channels, from website, operations, shipping, like all the different things. In a current engagement, there's probably about 20 or so, and those include the chiefs of staff, leads, those who run the data side, marketing, sales, all of it.
And then so when they work with you, what's the end result? Again, they're just trying to paint this picture for someone.
Yeah, better alignment. So I'll call it experiential North Star. So more alignment about why we're here and how to show up for each other and for our client. That's, I think, one of the biggest ingredients. Understanding and more empathy across what our customers feel and what we feel. Better goal alignment with metrics, and then an action plan. So here's what to prioritize. You all, like, they're all the experts, right? I listen and pull it together.
Sure.
They already know where these opportunities. They've talked about them. Some have raised them, and sometimes they get traction and sometimes they don't. What I can do is be the third party that's unbiased to surface those things, prioritize them in a way where they can start to feel a change quickly. Mm-hmm. It's hard when you have an idea and someone doesn't listen and put that in place. So I'm happy to be able to just be that voice, the ear and the voice, I guess, to bring that forward.
What would you say is the most rewarding part of that work, or is there a specific example of you in the time that you've done this?
Oh my gosh, it's all so good. It's really nice to get to connect with people and get to know them and help them, honestly. I'd say, in one engagement there were a couple teams that there's often friction across teams when they don't necessarily understand what each other is doing and how important each other are when they're handing off the baton, and pressures to do things a certain way and within a certain amount of time. What I was able to do, not knowing going in that this is what I was going to focus on, right, is to help build trust, make the team, the smaller team, I'll just say, learn that I'm here to help. I'm here to just listen. And then we hit like this huge moment where the head of operations sort of changed her tune and was on board with making changes that would integrate things, simplify things, whereas that was a blocker before because it's different, it's new, they still want it to be easy. So it was helping break down barriers and foster better communication. And that just feels good. It sounds so simple, but they were working on it for quite a while.
How did that happen? Because I feel like that's the big, like, if leadership doesn't believe in what we're doing, or I can't get through to this one person, like it doesn't matter how great the action plan, how well we listen, how much I like you, that roadblock can be detrimental to all of the work you're doing. So how have you learned how to effectively, was there anything specific with that person that you were able to massage and actually get to?
Yeah, it was, in this case, there's the head of operations at a large organization. One of those direct reports was resistant, protecting their team from too much change and having to do things in a system in a different way or whatever it is. Coming from a place of, we can't take that on. We also have all these other things as part of our day job. And I think the key, the head of operations, as I guided them through that, let's come together and say how we want to show up. I mean, the words were, we've tried this before, so it's not like it's brand new, right? The concept.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
We've tried this before. It fell flat. I think having somebody who, is unbiased, a third party, come in and guide us through this was the difference. And I think that change and kind of, in this case, her mindset cascaded down to how she was showing up and talking to her team, which is why executive buy-in is so, so critical.
Yeah.
I'm another vendor. I'm another consultant. The organizations lean on people all the time. They should be skeptical, I guess, of me coming in. It's a realization of like, oh, this actually works, right? And so it was that. And then it's my job to then foster that through and make sure that those changes happen and they don't go back to the old ways. I mean, it's human connection. It's conversations. It's listening. It's putting an environment in place where they could share those things and realize that it's not about the individual. It's about wanting to protect their team or have a better process. They all want the same thing.
Yeah, it's like we're on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy how many departments and how much just conflict there is because we forget the vision. We forget the big goal that we're all trying to do.
That's
like,
right.
if I make your job really easy and you make my job really easy, we're gonna be good.
That's right. Everyone's gonna benefit, right? Yeah.
And it's so easy to not. It's like, well, no, I have to do it this way, and this is like the guards go up,
right? Or I was told to do it this way, and this is how I'm gonna keep doing it. It's
right.
Like, right.
And then mix in change. We don't like change, right?
Oh yeah. I know.
Nobody likes change, even when it's for the better. No. It's so often there's resistance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It takes time to change, and I've been asked recently to do more sort of formal change assessments because of that. A lot of transformations or companies growing by acquisition or whatever. And when I'm doing those things, I'm just asking questions. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm using a structure, but it's just a conversation. And then I can surface some of those things. Be like, well, I mean, people get it, but they don't feel like they're equipped. Or they don't get why we're doing this, but they feel like they had training on it. So you have to hit on those different points. change is not easy. It's just not.
It sounds easy. It sounds nice. Can save us money, can be
go.
more productive.
Right.
There's so much that goes into it to do it effectively.
That's right. It's true. I think that's been for me, like you asked about sort of the challenge and saying is what you do, customer success or UI design or whatever. What I don't put out there as much as it's very much that. It's working through a culture. It's fostering conversations. It's aligning them around a visual that everybody gets and pointing out those things. There's quite a bit of, the human side of it that goes into everything.
I love it. You mentioned wanting to be an architect earlier. Do you see this as kind of being like a brand architect in a way at all?
It's a reach, but yeah.
I don't know.
I want to design like a whole building and all that. But yeah, I do actually. It's a creative side of it. And I think that's exactly what it is. There's a framework. There's a construct. Like they have a foundation. It really is that.
The way you were describing it sounded to me like
is.
there's a little bit of, you mentioned whiteboards and doing the stuff. And so, a little bit of a reach.
I'm teasing. It really is, though. It is that. I mean, I dabbled in doing interior design and those things just because I like the tactile and that sort of thing. But it is. I think it's sort of scratching that itch. It's giving me that creativity. Like you back up, you look at something, you design it, and then you help make it happen. I think that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, even from like the employee experience too, if like thinking about the interior of an office that might not be set up for success, right? So that could also be a component in getting the team to be able to work together and to be able to see each other and right. So it can very well be very tied to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's so true. And it makes me think about from being a part of 6 Degrees and then talking with so many more people, pulling and finding those experts who are the leadership coaches, the organizational psychologists, the team coaches, the team leadership, all that space, because that becomes such a critical component. And I can take it far, but I can't take it as far as some of those experts to be able to include that in there too.
This being the world that you live in, and it sounds like the expertise that you've built from consulting, but just from an experience standpoint, like how much does that show up as mom at home with your kids? Are you designing, like when you design vacations or whatever, play dates, whatever it is there like a level of she lives and breathes and not just lives and breathes it, but I can tell what you do by like the way that some of that shows up at all?
That's funny. I wish more so than I think a recent example of that to say yes is my daughter had one of her friends over and they were playing with her dollhouse, which I love. That's so old school, right? They're sitting playing with the dollhouse. And I was like, do you guys want a snack? And there was a weekend or whatever. And so I made them, we're vegetarians, so without meat, but basically a charcuterie board on this like burnt piece of wood that I have rescued from a fire that was right. And I took a picture from above the aerial sort of view and sent it to the mom, and she's like, did you really just make a charcuterie board for their snack? I was like, yeah, presentation is everything. It's still a snack plate. It has like fruits and veggies and pretzels on it. Yes. So yes, I think I like presentation as part of it and thinking about like, I want them to feel special too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's something in that. I did wedding planning for 2 years.
Oh, and, you did? I didn't know you did.
Yeah. And so we have a Halloween party every year, and I can't do it up the way that I want, but each year, and we've been going, this is our 10th year doing it. And that's one of those moments where I could take some of that. I want the experience to feel like this with the contest, and this year I might get a guitarist for fun, and we have all the games and everything.
That's cool.
So I liked, curating experiences is great. Yeah, and hopefully we don't have to dig in too deep with the other stuff.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's the chef that's like, I cook for a living, I'm going to come home and make a peanut butter and butter sandwich to a certain extent.
Right. Yeah,
because we're the same way. The reason I ask is because we're the same, like so much of what we do, we try to think about everything from from an experience standpoint. Like we really, and sometimes too much of the details and get in the weeds around certain things. We try to think through it, and at home sometimes it's like I don't want to think about it.
You don't want to do it,
and or I just wanted to. Oh, we're invited to the thing. Great.
Yeah, like when we get invited to something, we hardly ever host anything, and we have a smaller apartment too. But yeah, because when I am quote like in charge, or I feel like I'm hosting, even for something as simple as watching the Kansas City games at home and away, and I want my space because that's where I want to watch it, but I'm the only one that quote trust to get there in time to get the table. Like, and so like I'm the staple person who will get there and get the spot and do the things, and I'm happy to do it. Like I said, like I want that space anyway, so I'm doing it selfishly, and at the same time, and this is not a call for anyone who's listening to be like, oh, volunteer. But like, I've not really had that either, for someone to be like, you know what, like you hang out and come like right when the game starts and I'll get your table. But it's because it's that like host mentality. It's that host piece of me where I'm like, well, no, but like I want to make sure that when everyone shows up, it's ready to go. And I feel like I'm the one inviting everyone here. And so it needs to be like up to the standard of what we do for 6 Degrees, or what we do for any time that we host something. Or I mean, when we've done anything with friends or like anything like that, if I'm in a host position, there's a standard that I have to live up to.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Natalie, go ahead.
No. I was
like, I don't know if that's a great example, because it's like you could literally tell home and like Christina basically has her name on this spot. Like we go there so often, like they would reserve it for you.
Yeah.
There's more of a, I think there's like a pride for you in like, no, I'm a Chiefs fan and this is my bar and like, welcome to my party kind of thing.
But I also, yes, I think that they would. And at the same time, like, maybe it's because coming from hospitality and feeling like I don't want them to feel like I don't appreciate, I don't know, there's just something about like I feel almost guilty if they reserve that spot knowing that there's going to be all these people who are going to try and come through and steal the chairs and sit at that table and do all the things, and someone's going to have to be like, this is reserved, this is like that whole interaction, because I've been on the other side of it. So I don't want that to happen for these people that host me. I don't know.
It's so nice of you.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. My own thing, I guess.
No, I think it is interesting, right? So I was curious if you guys, what's different then for you at home versus out when you're
I think, I mean, we'll try to think through we'll do smaller things. So if it's someone's birthday, it's like, how can we create a little bit of a wow thing that's not as extravagant? I've coordinated my friend's bachelor party, and for that it was like, no, like we're doing every touch point. I'm thinking through all the logistics and like over the top with that type of stuff. So there's levels to it,
right?
And it's probably similar for you with your kids. Like, no, I'm gonna make this a little bit special.
It's right.
Easy, right?
Yeah.
But I would say for the most part, it's for us at home. It's more of, we do this all day, every day.
Right.
And then the sickness I have is I'll go to something and I'll like, why did they do it that way? That's not how I would have hung that. Interesting.
Well, I think we both like to rescue if it's the friend thing. So one of my girlfriends called, or we were texting or something, and she's like, hey, can you help with this piece of my wedding next year? And it's like a little bit of a coordination thing. And I'm like, yeah, so that means like I'm in the thing and I'm coordinating the stuff. And I was like, Eric, you're recruited, because I said yes. And so that's part of, if we get asked to do something like that, we're going to take it to the next level of what we would do.
Right.
We did the same thing for your sister's wedding, right? Where it's, we're going to bring in some elements that take it a step further, because that's just the nature of who we are.
There's a level, if you like ask me to be involved in something, it's like, okay, but it's not just gonna be like the bare minimum. It's gonna be, okay, I'm in it.
Okay, right.
Versus us kind of at home is like, we pick and choose when we lean into it.
That's probably why we don't have people over.
Probably.
Yeah. That's why you're, amazing at what you do, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
We try really hard. It's not always perfect, and that's part of it. And
do people need perfect?
I'm very tough on myself about it. But it's like,
I think it's been perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate
That's
that.
what I meant to say.
Like, we literally had one of the best dinners we had, and after I was like joking with Christina, like, yeah, but we could have done this, and this, and she's like, stop.
I was like, can you just enjoy this for a second?
Just
be happy. Like, it was amazing. It was more than a 10 out of 10. I'm like, yeah, but
I'm so glad it was. Yeah.
No, it's funny. I think there's parts where it's hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
And then there's moments where we go like, ooh, like, yeah, I can make the charcuterie board and like make it really good. And maybe I'm appreciating it more than even the person who I'm giving this to, right? I mean, maybe they were like, oh my God, this is so great. Or maybe they're like, snacks, right? Like food.
It's fun to do.
Yeah. So I think it's just, sometimes it's part of our gifts, and it's
Yeah.
fun to share it in all situations.
That's right.
Interested in how has it evolved for you just with finding who you want to work with? Because so many people, I'm sure, kind of what we're talking about is I can look at something and be like, "Ooh, you need my help."
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm sure you see it often, right? So how have you learned to navigate?
Yeah. I mean, I
that?
think it's a practice in talking about when I first met you guys. It's like, well, here's what I do. And then it's evolved.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar kind of thing as like asking questions and just learning. And when somebody recognizes that this is a helpful tool or helpful way or helpful process or whatever it is, that's good, right? It can be anything. So I think it's working like the selfish version of it. I want to work with people who I like to work with.
Yeah.
Right. And that's been so great because then you positive reinforcement along the way. Like, you know, one of my clients will do a weekly check-in and I've learned about her grandfather and we've chatted about this and the nonprofit she's working for. And it's getting to know the humans, right? As long as we have that mutual respect and trust that we're there just to help each other. That's what I want. You can't always find that easily, but I found a lot more of it once I was like, well, I want to work with who I want to work with, right? Regardless of what company or brand they're with or what they're building or starting.
I think that's so beautiful because I think so many people are like, what if all of my clients were that? I don't think everyone understands that or like that. We all can think of the person. When this person calls, I don't really want to talk to.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Right? Like, but like, what if it was the opposite? Like, what if everyone that I talked to, they called, I'm super excited, I get energized by it. It sounds like you've been able to find part of going out on your own, I would imagine, is like having the authority to figure that out and go, it's not going to fill me up.
No,
the way,
it's so true.
Right?
Yeah, very, very well said, honestly. And getting the advice to form an advisory board was something important. And I didn't seek out one of those sites to say matched me with people. They were people who know me already and I'll go get lunch with or coffees with and they can give me advice. And even that, to be able to catch up, you know, I got a message from one of them recently, like, this might be changing in my life, whatever, you know, I'm like, I'm here as a sounding board. So it's that exponentially.
Tell us a little bit more about that. So is it when you say advisory board and having advice to go and build that out, I think, is it a specific thing that people are part of, or it's more of I have these relationships that feel like I can go and be open to?
No, I mean, I formalized it, I think.
Yeah, is it formal was
yeah,
the word that
I did. I formalized it, but it's very, like, I have low, how can I say it? It's low effort for them. I just asked when we were catching up, you know, I'm thinking of starting this thing or formalizing, right, this business. Would you be willing to be on my advisory board? And I just sort of picked folks who have friends, colleagues, whatever, who have the particular discipline just to make sure it's rounded out. Someone with risk and finance, marketing and sales and branding and strategy, et cetera, et cetera. There wasn't that many et ceteras, but, you know, just to round it out. And then it holds me accountable to put together, here's what I said I was going to do, and here's what I've done. So we meet quarterly.
Okay.
And we've kept that up. And then in between, I'll do catch-ups. One of my advisory board members was putting together a sort of C-suite level workshop focused on risk and some other things. And he's like, can we brainstorm on this together? And so we'll just hop on the phone and talk about it because we worked together before, get a plan together.
Yeah.
So it's both, but the formality of it helps me, honestly, and I think they know that. It helps me hold myself accountable. Like, we met last time, we're coming up, I think it's October 3rd or something, but we met last time and they were nudging me towards just be you, just do. So it's a little bit coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just go do the things out there and talk about what you do and this. And it's like, okay, you know, I haven't really wanted to do that. I just want to do great work and work with great people. But I put it out there, and then I'm here with you all. And this morning there was a LinkedIn Live. That was my first one doing that with a colleague of mine, and taught the webinar and all those things all in the same month.
Yeah.
You know, just sort of happen. It takes a month or two to plan those things, but it was because they nudged me to be open to that.
Yeah.
So it forces growth, honestly, I think.
So just from an understanding, so they're all your friends, and
Yeah,
or worked with them. There's a level of respect, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
like there's a friendliness. It sounds like too. They want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
They're not just doing it to like, oh, I have this advisory board seat, which so much advisory board. They're just, I'm on the board. Like,
Right.
doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But it seems more of a friendly, like.
Yeah, they've become friends over the years. I'm so appreciative for the exposure that I got at my last firm, because I met them when I was there, and my relationship with them has become independent after I left, obviously, but I met them, most of them, through work that I had done in the past. And I think that's a great story to carry that forward.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Because they're independent individuals, they can choose to say yes or no to things.
Yeah.
And the fact that they know me enough to say yes, to be there for me like that, meant so much.
I don't know anyone else that is on their own as this earlier in their journey of being on their own that has formed an advisory board. And to me, it's like what you just described makes so much sense. It's so
smart. No, it's so smart. I mean, to me, it sounds like a mentor, like kind of having like 4 or 5 different mentors to talk to and really just, advise on what's going on your business. And I'm sure there's conversations around like what they're going through as well. I mean, if there's anything to advise just people who are entrepreneurs in general, it's like, go talk to people who can be mentors. And I promise you, asking someone to be your mentor or be on your advisory board, they will love to do that and support you in your journey, right? And it's probably something that Eric, we could do more of too, right? Like we have a coach, and there's so much value in having all kinds of different perspectives and learning from other people and other industries and their expertise. And so, I think that's brilliant that you have already done that and started this advisory board, when I don't think most entrepreneurs like take that step so early on.
Thank you. I credit it to getting the advice from another CX practitioner, Lauren. Like, honestly, just sort of like, okay, I can do that. I totally agree with you. And perhaps you've heard the advice to say, build up your board as a person, as you're building up your personal brand. Find those people who lift you up and support you, or like the Brene Brown, like they don't blow out your candle or light or whatever it is, right? That in itself, I think, is critical. And what's to say you can't say it out loud and bring them together? You don't have to meet with them only individually, because they could learn from each other and benefit each other. It's growing, right? Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't realize it until, I got that advice. So I credit it to that for sure, but I would pass that on.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And then the other part of it is it takes away the solo journey, right?
Yes.
So many people in this small business mentality is like, I'm on an island, right? But it's like, I don't have to be.
That's right.
If I have an advisory board, we meet quarterly, right? So like to go back to as simply as these people there's a relationship that you have with them, and they add value in different aspects, right? But then you guys meet on a quarterly basis, and you keep in touch with them in between that.
Yes.
And that's them being part of your board and rooting for you and holding you accountable. Like that's what a concept.
Right. I actually invited 2 of them and 1 current client who I worked with before to be on a panel. So I'm doing that in 2 weeks to talk about executive buy-in and transformations, and they're each in a different role. I think they still would have said yes if they weren't on the advisory board, but I'm really happy that they're willing to do that.
Yeah.
It's the recommendation to film it. So thank you for connections there. But that's the kind of thing too. I've seen them in their leadership positions. I've seen them drive growth, and I know how they show up, and I want to share that.
Right.
So it's also sharing their expertise in, small ways as well.
What I also just really love about it too, though, is we talk about this a lot, is so how do you add depth to relationships? So you have these people that are amazing in what they do, you respect them, you've worked together at some level. I would imagine in the last 2 years, like there's depth because there's a mutual kind of respect, but they're also rooting for you and you're seeing them on a consistent basis, right? So like there's so many levels to what you're doing now. Like now they're involved in your panel with you, and like, that's going to add more depth because you guys are going to have this shared experience together in a professional light. So I love it's so smart. And again, maybe other people do this. I have not heard of anyone that's part of 6 Degrees that is a solopreneur type person or early in their business have, oh no, I'm going to start my advisory board.
Right.
It's so smart.
Thank you. I think there's something in not only, like, I'm a solopreneur, but I don't use those terms.
Yeah.
Do you know what I don't see it that way. I want to build something.
Just the way you described it is you're not. I couldn't even imagine you feeling that way with how much support is around you and what you've set up for that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way. And I don't need to hire large teams or anything at the moment. I have access to experts in any capacity and continue to meet more through 6 Degrees and other places that I just feel armed, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good feeling for sure. I know we haven't talked about peak fractional and joining there, but that addition, and, you know, it's early days for me of joining the leadership of that company to deliver CX in either a fractional capacity or CX strategy. That's a whole other, I don't even want to say bench, but kind of, right? Bench of super smart senior people across different disciplines. So that's adding more value. So it's just another layer of, let me help. I have this expert in technology and this expert over here. So I feel equipped in a really good way, honestly.
Well, yeah, just so I understand that, because you've mentioned that, where it's basically so fractional. There's different people that do have different fractional services, practices, and you're one of those.
I'm one of those, but it's Colleen, the CEO, has brought it together in such a, I think, a beautiful way to say, like, no, we're a team and we deliver, and this is advisory too. And if we're placing a CTO, Chief Technology Officer in an organization, they're fully supported. We're there for that. If that organization, startup, planning for an exit or whatever it is, or a sell, then they can bring in project manager, a CIO.
Yeah, imagine they're just pulling different people in based on needs. But here's the roster, here's the bench. We all trust each other. We all work together. We're all supportive for each other. Yeah,
the people first side of it is huge. So it's just an addition to feeling like there's a lot of wonderful to work with people who care about what they do.
No, that's amazing. And I just feel like, so with the advisory board part and then being part of something like that, right, where now we're a team, there's ways to really kind of build out this system of relationships where you don't need to have the cold calling part of it, right?
Yeah. I don't think I'm that great at that anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I'm definitely not good at that. It's not how I make connection.
I know, me either. Like, I want to learn about a person. I got connected to someone a few months ago, and it was a catch-up type, get to know each other call, and I don't feel like I learned a single thing about that person. And that I kind of know what that person does, but I don't know them as a person. Right. And that matters to me so much.
Yeah.
To know, like, how do you show up? What do you care about? We do anything.
Yeah, it's the cold calling thing is just, there's some people who are so good at it, and I'm like, more power to you, but it's just not how I can.
Right.
I don't know. I don't function that way.
Well, what do you think of the videos, putting out content in the videos that shows, I think that illustrates who you guys are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's been a really cool thing to see and have it continue to be pulled through in what we're doing going forward. So I'm excited to continue seeing that evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you have to get to your kiddos. So I think since we started with what do we have to let go of to be present, I'm curious how present each of us were able to be, maybe scale of 1 to 5. 5 being high. How do we each feel that we did?
I think 5. It made me think about a bunch of things, but I feel like I was here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would say definitely felt like you were here. So,
Yeah.
5 for sure. We've talked about this multiple times, but having this little space, and it's the most present that we get to be, and just unplugged for an extended period of time. That's not so thank you. So 5 for me for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think I was at a 4.5. I think there were 2 moments where I know, for just to be totally transparent, where I think I was trying to think of a question of something, and then I lost train of thought for a second. And so that happened for me twice. I noticed it, I was aware of it, and I came back. So
very good.
Yeah, it's funny how I don't know that I would have, like you said, Eric, that this space is so interesting, because I don't know that I would catch those things normally, but it's different in here.
Yeah.
This little vacuum.
Well, I admire it. Again, happy to be here.
Yeah, this was so
good.
good.
Thank you so much.
Next week.
Yeah, next week's going to be really fun, for sure.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Are we deep diving?
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive. Let's see. Okay, so I thought it was so cute and just hilarious that her son said that the pandemic was the best years of his life. He's like, how did she quote it? It was just, that was the best time of my life, Mom. Like,
so innocent, but also like very insensitive to everyone that struggled with it, right? And for him, like, I just want to like name specifically, like,
well,
yes,
sure.
super cute and amazing.
I mean, he was like in kindergarten, so yeah, and for him to really know about what's going on. But I think it's just funny to hear, yeah, at what point and for who was that actually a really enjoyable experience? Because there's people probably in all stages who were like, yeah, it was actually kind of great.
Well, I think the purity of and the innocence of a kid.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that probably felt that same way, but like they're not gonna say it. Because again, it was a very tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And I don't want to discount that. But yeah, 100% to have a kindergarten in all 5 or 6 years of his life. But I just think of the meme with The Office or the whole is it a quote, is a meme in The Office where it's like, how do you know you're in the good old days?
Andy.
I wish you could know you're in the good old days before you leave them.
Yeah.
Whatever the version of that is.
Yeah. Andy says that on The Office, but
so yeah, her son recognized these are the good old days.
Well, and good on him for just really embracing what was happening in that moment and looking at it from a positive lens. What was your favorite part of the pandemic? If you're gonna pull something out that was a positive, that was something either fun or good, or what was something?
We drank so much wine.
No, okay, yeah. Was that a good thing? Like, I don't think.
I didn't say it was good or bad. That's just where my head goes.
Yes, we did. We drank so much wine.
I think part of drinking wine was we literally invented a card game.
Yeah, that's true. That was really fun to do.
Or we expanded on a card game.
Sure, you and Lars have the OG on that, but then...
But it's not even like a real... Yeah, I think that was definitely a positive. We ironed out the kinks of a card game, and we have played it with enough people at this point where, like, no, it works, and it makes sense, and we tied up all the loose ends,
and people have a really fun time with it.
And it's a fun game.
It's one of those things where right when we start teaching it, people are scratching their head. What are we doing? I'm confused. And then the moment that rock, paper, scissors starts to like really show up in the game, people get so into it. It's so funny. I mean, I do. I get so into it. I'm like smacking my hand.
Well,
like
that was probably the best. I mean, do you remember we would just bang on the table?
Yeah.
And you would always get upset because we lived on the top floor, and you're like, people can hear us banging on the table.
Like,
and
Eric, we have neighbors.
Yeah, they're probably like, what the fuck are they doing?
They're like, oh, they're at it again.
Yeah, no, like creating that game and how much fun we had with it and how much we drank because of it. Because it is a drinking game. It's probably important to name that. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. It definitely is fun if it's it's fun either way. And I think the fun part about it being a drinking game is because the dealer can get screwed a little bit. So it makes it fun.
I'll say, if anyone listens to this and you want to play, the name of the game is Gentosi.
Yep.
Patent pending, copyright pending.
Yeah, we need to talk to our lawyers.
I probably need to do some work on that, but I do want to create it eventually.
It would be really fun to have that like actually created and be like, oh, look what we did from the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that's probably...
The things that we do in isolation.
Yeah. I think I wish, this wasn't your question, but I know there's a handful of people that like took that time to like really take care of themselves and get into like really good shape or do more reading or find a passion.
Yeah, but I feel like that was a smaller percentage of people. I think most people were like also drinking. Remember when Corona, the beer, just like plummeted for a while because it was called coronavirus?
Yeah.
It's so funny how something like that and the way that it has an effect on just products and marketing, and just completely out of their control. It was just called something, and then all of a sudden people are like, well, can't drink Corona. That's so wild.
Yeah, and there's probably a long-term psychological brand recognition piece that it was good.
I could imagine.
I don't know the data, but if everyone is just saying Corona.
Yeah. Well, it's weird though, because I haven't even heard someone refer to it as coronavirus in so many years.
It's COVID, right?
COVID. Yeah. I had COVID. Like that's weird.
Yeah. COVID-19, coronavirus. I forgot about the whole Corona stock and sales. What a time.
What a freaking time.
What a weird time. What was the positive light, silver lining of the pandemic?
Well, I think it's the fact that we both got it right away. So then after that, it was kind of like, well, whatever.
We had a very different, I mean, I've talked to so many people over the last 5 years about just our experience was so different than most people's.
I mean, so here's the thing I definitely infected you because we both worked St. Patty's Day, and we were all just drinking knowing that this was the last shift that was even going to be available at that point we thought it was going to be like 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. We're like, well, we're going to get 2 weeks off. And yeah, my experience of having it was next to nothing. I was in bed for 36 hours and body aches. It wasn't really anything, but I think just getting it over and done with so soon, literally immediately, had me more relaxed about.
Yeah, I mean, nobody it's crazy. It's crazy that was 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years in December
of living here. Yeah.
How's that feel?
It's weird. Time is weird.
This is the longest you lived anywhere, right? In a while?
In a while, yeah. I mean, high school would have been longer because I moved to Lindsborg to start 7th grade, and I stayed obviously through all of high school. So that's probably the longest that I've ever been in one place.
So what is that, 6 years?
Yeah.
So next year will be equal the longest
that I've ever lived somewhere. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I was born, we lived in this little itty bitty town, even smaller than Lindsborg, Roxbury, and then moved to Lindsborg, and I went to preschool and kindergarten there. But then my mom and dad split when I was like 5 or 6 and a half, somewhere in that range, because my mom and I moved to Corpus Christi when I was going into 1st grade.
It's
Texas, yeah, Corpus Christi, Texas. You've been to Padre Island, haven't you?
Yeah, but I don't remember it.
Well, sure. Okay, well, that's where that is. It's in Corpus Christi. It's off of Corpus.
Technically, physically, I have been there.
You've touched foot there, but don't remember. So, yeah, I was there for, I honestly think it was in 2nd grade when we tried to be in Mexico for a while. So it was like, moved to Corpus Christi, try Mexico for a little bit, went back to Corpus Christi, and then it was from 3rd grade so it was going into 4th grade that we moved to Tucson. So then I was there for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and then that's when I moved back to Kansas, and then, yeah.
So New Mexico? I feel like I always throw in New Mexico.
Not New Mexico, regular Mexico.
Yeah, I thought New Mexico, too.
I just said regular Mexico.
Original Mexico.
OG Mexico. Oh, my God. Regular Mexico. That sounds like I'm trying to decide between, like, mild and hot salsa. No, I'll just take the regular Mexico flavor.
But
Oh my
you never
God.
lived in New Mexico?
I've never lived in New Mexico.
Okay. I think
When you tell people
I think
things,
I tell people that you have.
well, might as well have at this point. I've lived in a lot of places.
It's just right there.
I mean, yeah, Tucson's not far, and I
do want to go. I do want to go to the hot air balloon festival
in New Mexico,
in Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
I think it's like this. It's this month.
Oh, well, pretty late notice. So thanks for that. Maybe next year.
Maybe
Let's pencil it in.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. So basically, this is now going to be the longest I've lived somewhere.
Huh. And
it's just, the older I get, the more that time just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, I don't know that I can recall. I'm born and raised in the same house. My mom had the same house for 30 years. So the way that you can be like, well, I was this old at this time in this place. Like, you have timestamps that I don't have.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I don't, growing up, it's hard. Everything before, middle school kind of blends together.
Mm.
So I don't have the significant milestone moments of moving.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. If I just grow up in the same place for my whole life, how well can I timestamp it? That's interesting. Cause
it's kind of like before my parents got divorced, which was around, I don't even actually know the exact age.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. So there's before, and the before that, I don't remember much. And then there's after that. And after that has a lot of drinking involved, so I don't remember much.
So, Eric doesn't remember a whole lot.
Fragments, bits and pieces, kibbles and bits.
Kibbles and bits. Ew.
Why ew? Are you thinking of the dog food?
I did think of the dog food, yeah.
No, they're just pieces.
I don't know that I would be able to hear kibbles and bits and not think of dog food.
That's okay.
What the hell did we do before cell phones? Specifically, I guess more the internet on our cell phones. I was thinking about this the other day because, when I was listening to the episode and we were talking about our cell phone usage and our habits with social media. And I'm just trying to think of, okay, when I didn't have homework to do and I didn't have anywhere to go or anywhere to be, what did I do when I was in my room? What was I doing? What did I do?
I don't know. What were you doing?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Do you know? Do you
what
remember?
What are you talking about? What age?
I'm talking about, so before the internet was on our phones, before maybe not the internet, but before we had all this social media and all this stuff to scroll, right? No Instagram and Twitter and all of that stuff. But when it was, we had texting. So I was just sitting there and texting people and then waiting for a text to come back?
Yeah. you and me we're part of the generation that has the unique experience of I remember people's phone numbers before area codes, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then we have dial-up internet. There was a percentage of our life, for me, it was, before I turned basically around teenage years. That was before internet and phones and all the stuff.
Yeah.
I remember early internet, dial-up internet, and AOL Messenger.
Yes.
And I remember me and my sister, we had a half-hour limit. And we would have to trade because there was two of us. There's only one internet. And so we had a window of time that we were allowed to be on it. One of us would get a half hour, then the next person would get a half hour.
That would be so frustrating.
And I remember, when I wasn't on it, what was I doing? I was probably just
waiting for the next turn.
Waiting to get on it. But yeah, part of it is there's boredom. Boredom is a healthy thing. And just thinking and just sitting in thoughts and feelings, and
I just feel when we were kids, and you're talking about AOL and the messaging and yeah, maybe my time on my phone was texting, that just feels so, it's more interactive, right? I'm having a conversation with somebody and it's happening even though we're not seeing each other. I miss it. I miss the text message, AOL message days. I feel like there was I just remember it being so exciting. We would be hanging out, all of us girls, and be messaging and like, oh, what's this guy saying, or who's talking about, I don't know. It was just so thrilling. And then we'd have these ridiculous lyrics like in our name or whatever, because we were going through it. we would change it to be something that was so emo, and then the next day it's all happy and lovey, or I don't know. It was so funny. How funny. What a weird thing, but it was a blast.
This is a strange world.
And it just keeps getting stranger. All right, well, there is a big game coming on soon, so we should wrap things up.
Gotta go. Put her there, bub.
Put her there, bub.